Peace and blessings, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be here, Craig. Excuse me. As the brother said, my name is Daquan Peters. I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina. Um, I'm not just a survivor of solitary confinement. I'm a very big advocate of in the solitary confinement. I've been in and out the carceral system over 30 years now. I did my first bid at the age of 17. I came home when I was 24. So you can imagine being in that environment, you're going to constantly stay in solitary confinement because when you're in an environment that's toxic, I should say, and you become something that you really don't need to be. And you'll find yourself in solitary confinement. For me, solitary confinement is mental torture. It's like murdering your soul. Like if you could picture yourself living in a gas station bathroom. I just did 12 and a half. I've been to state prison 3 times. I've been to federal prison once. I just did 12 and a half years in the federal bureau of prison. And I can tell you right now, you're going to do at least 60 days and they'll shoot. Their hold is called special housing. They send you there for a variety of reasons. But the thing about the psychological damage that's what I want to talk about, me myself, on what solitary confinement did to me as an individual. It made me emotionally numb. And that's a mental health condition that a lot of people come home with that's unchecked. And it's hard it makes it hard for us to trust people. It's hard for me to trust individuals. It's hard, being in that confined space. I would say out of 30 years in and out the carceral system, I would say I served over 10 years in the hold. I wasn't when I was younger, I had a problem with authority, so I would always step up and face any correctional officer or anybody that I felt that was trying to abuse me or oppress me. So because of that and because of who I was, and not to mention I'm in the Nation of Gods and Earth too, formerly known as 5%ers. They used to put us in the hole, and because we didn't eat pork, they would send pork 3 times a day, at least 7 days a week through our trap. Do you know and understand what that does to a young individual mindset? Do you know what that would do to me, to what it does to me when I come to view authority and not just authority, but people that's white that's in authority, and even if they're not trying to bring me home? Do you know what it does? Do you know what it feels like? I don't go out. So I'm one of those individuals. I don't go out on my rec call because I don't want to feel like a dog in a kennel. Like literally, if you have an animal, if you have a dog, and you got concrete slab for when you spread off or whenever your dog got to use the bathroom in that little cage, that's what it's like. Your recreation is like for that 1 hour, and depending on your custody level, you're handcuffed. You're handcuffed and shackled. And I've been in one of those cages walking around in a circle. It's no bigger than a closet. That's how big that cage is in certain prisons. Some of them are bigger than others, but you're handcuffed and shackled. I'm already in the cage. I don't want to feel like that, so I don't go out on rec. So I'm the person, if I got 60 days in the shoe, I'm spending every 60 day in the shoe without going out of that cell. Not one day am I stepping outside of that cell. And that's just 60 days on top of the days you spent in there prior to going to see the disciplinary officer. And all you hear is yelling and screaming and keys and jingling and all of this stuff going on, and it does something to you mentally. So I used to, so the only Bible at one point when I was on state at one point, you didn't have, the only book you had to read was whatever religion you subscribed to. Whether if you was a Muslim, you got the Quran. If you was a Christian, you got the Bible. Whatever you know religion you subscribe to, that was what they had to give you. Outside of that, there was no book. So I done read the Bible, I done read the Quran, I done read the Torah, I done read pretty much every religious book it is to read. And then I found myself, I had to internalize this oppression, because that's another thing that we do. We begin to internalize that systematic oppression that's being meted out to us. and it give us a sense of learn helplessness and learn hopelessness. And when we get into that mindset, that's what prison does to you automatically. It's to annihilate your mind. It's to destroy you mentally. It's to break you mentally. It's to turn you into a slave. And that's what it did to me. And I had to go into that mindset of Jacob before he became Israel. And that's how I began to learn to cope with being in the hole of, okay, let me wrestle with God for a minute. Is this my purpose to be in here? Am I placed in this box, in this solitude, with nothing, stripped of every possession that I can possibly think of, my family, my worldly possessions, of everything in this world, and all I got in here is me and a religious book. So okay, now let me deal with God, and that's how I began to internalize being in the hole. But that began to make me emotionally numb to any and everything. So when issues come to me, it don't affect me the same way it affects other people, because I know what it's like to be alone. Loneliness has become my companion.